This week on Wildcat News, Crist speeds past the competition.
Drivers show off their classic cars.
And students in AP Earth Science cook up some vegan dishes.
All these stories and more because Wildcat News starts now. Good morning, West Johnston. I'm Erik Beene.
And I'm Jamie Snover with another episode of Wildcat News.
This past Saturday, car junkies came together to show off their rides and compete for various prizes. Jarrett Spann tells us more.
This past Saturday, West Johnston hosted the annual spring car show. Braden Mills and Dawson Langdon tell us about the event.
The Athletic Booster Club set up the car show to help benefit the athletics program here at West. Whenever I showed up, there was probably about 75 cars or so.
Mills and Langdon share their favorite cars from the weekend.
My favorite car that was at the car show had to be the 1969 Chevrolet Camaro. It was all original with a dark green paint.
I'd definitely say the Competition Orange Boss 302, the new body. That was an absolutely gorgeous car.
Mills and Langdon tell us about the other venues that were at the show.
They had a cornhole tournament going on. I guess that was supposed to be pretty big. I didn't really participate, and they had a lot of concessions and stuff like that.
There was a bunch of other businesses out here under tents, just advertising what they had to sell.
Mills talks about the awards given out, the categories they fell under, and the turnout on Saturday.
I know a few of the awards handed out were Best Student Car and Best Student Truck. They had Best in Show overall, they had Principal's Choice, Best Paint, Best Drag Car, Best Rat Rod, Best 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s models. I'd say it was a very good turnout considering I know our last couple car shows we've had here really weren't all that great, and I feel like that was a very good turnout for the short notice we had for it.
I'm Jarrett Spann, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Jarrett. Eric, did you see what they were serving in the cafeteria today? I think it was older than my grandma.
Well, my AP Earth Science class whipped up some delicious vegan food. Katherine Serrell shows us some of the dishes.
Last Monday, AP Earth and Environmental students participated in an all-vegan luncheon, a lunch consisting of only plant-based foods, no honey, dairy, or eggs. Heather Arp tells us more.
AP Environmental Science class created dishes that were all completely vegan, bottom of the food chain, and everybody chose something to bring in, and everybody brought in food. We also did this zero waste, so everybody brought in plates, and we did cups and washcloths instead of paper napkins, so we're not producing any waste from the lunch.
Caitlin Redding speaks about what they ate.
Some of the things that were brought were quinoa and wild rice with cranberries. Someone brought in some cupcakes and pastas, and some brought in just fruit. I made teriyaki tofu with rice and broccoli.
Redding and Arp offer final thoughts.
I think it was a good classroom activity. It was a way to bring in information you had been taught in class without just having to go through more classwork or going over some PowerPoints.
It's not all twigs and berries. There is, real food that doesn't have to involve the same amount of land impact or energy impact that a lot of meat production does.
Something I would just tell everyone is that you shouldn't be scared to try something new just because it sounds or looks weird, because a lot of it tastes just as good as regular food does, and you might find that you like it.
I'm Katherine Serrell, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Katherine.
I would actually try that vegan food. It looked pretty good.
Well, it's not as good as my mom's cooking. And Brody Hall shows us how some students appreciate more than just their mom's cooking through the FFA's flower sale.
Last week, FFA members sold plants to students in preparation for Mother's Day. FFA member Michaela Hackney tells more about the fundraiser.
The FFA Mother's Day plant sale is a plant sale that the students put together for any students at school that would like to buy plants for their mothers, but it's just there to give out an opportunity for students to buy stuff for their mothers if they haven't already. It helps the students buy, yes, a cheaper alternative, and then it helps the FFA students. It is a huge fundraiser for us.
Ashton Wilkins shares why she bought a flower.
I needed a gift for my mom because I hadn't gotten a chance to get one for her. I can't drive yet, so it's usually hard to get a present for her, so I have to get her or my dad to take me. It was really nice that it was just outside of lunch, and it was very convenient.
Michaela Hackney offers a final word about the flower sale.
It gets the kids thinking about something other than themselves, like their parents, their mothers, because Mother's Day is a special time of the year because everyone has a mom. Kids just really get to thinking about their mom and how they can do something for her that would make her day.
I'm Brody Hall, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Brody.
Kyle Crist is wrapping up his senior year, beating all kinds of records for cross country and track and field. Gerardo Roman speaks with Coach Shaw and Crist about his accomplishments.
Patrick Shaw discusses Kyle Crist's work ethic and the achievements that have come along with it.
Kyle's a good leader, not necessarily like spoken wise. He doesn't speak, he doesn't talk a lot, he doesn't give a lot of advice, but he does, he leads through his example, just his training, his dedication on the weekends and the weekdays. That's another thing is, people think that running and training is just, for weekdays when we're at school, but in reality, training is much more than that. He does the workouts how they're supposed to be done. He warms up, he warms down, he doesn't skip stuff, he doesn't abbreviate the workouts, if that makes sense. So that's the kind of the way that he leads. I would say Kyle's definitely a fairly soft-spoken individual. His competitiveness doesn't come out, not necessarily from meeting him, but when you see him actually get into a race and compete and go into a competition, he's obviously very competitive, and it comes out through his dedication that he wants to be successful.
I've competed at West for 12 seasons between cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track. The running program here at West is really good. If you want to put the work in and you're dedicated, it can really turn into a good college scholarship. My mom used to take me out running when I was a kid. It wasn't anything serious. Used to run some fun races, and I ran track in middle school, but I didn't really take running seriously until about sophomore year in high school. I noticed I could always run a lot better than most of the kids, and when I got in races, I was generally towards the front. And I was about in high school, and I kept training, kept getting faster than the other kids. I realized I was better at running than most people my sophomore year in high school, and I kept training, and I kept getting faster and faster than the other kids.
Kyle won our conference championship in cross country, led our team to the conference championship again. We've won, I think, 8 of those in the last 9 years. He was all region at the Mid-East Regional for us, and then he was second in the state cross-country championships. He was all-state indoors, and he set the school record twice in the 3,200-meter run, which is basically the 2-mile run. All that stuff has happened because he's put in the work in the last 3 years, and that's not going to happen if you don't. Talent is not the most important thing, and hard work and dedication is.
Shaw's been a big influence on my running career. He tells me what to do and run each weekday. He runs with me on the weekends outside of school, and he gets us into very competitive meets, gives us advice on the meets to run and how to run, and he gives us really good race-specific workouts. Shaw helps a lot, and I'm going to miss him when I go off to NC State.
I'm Gerardo Roman, Wildcat News.
Thanks, Gerardo.
Some languages are considered an art form, and some students from ASL prove just that. Last Friday evening, ASL 4 students presented a unique project, but unlike most performances, everyone was silent, from the performers to the audience.
Performing in a silent environment was very awkward. It was, and it was really hard to get people to interact.
Performing when everyone was silent was really different, because we have class where we're silent the entire class period, but getting up in front of people and it just being completely silent was different and awkward.
Although awkward at times, the silence highlighted the challenges members of the deaf community face every day. Dolan describes how this silence affects the deaf culture and in turn how it has affected her.
Their culture is different because they're completely different, in the way that they use more of their senses than we do because they can't hear. So they see things in different ways than we do. The deaf community has made an impact on me by being able to get involved with them and knowing their culture and everything else that they do.
Dolan and Hamrick share how taking ASL has shaped their views of the language and the deaf community.
I would encourage more people to learn sign language or ASL due to the fact that there are deaf people around and they're no different than we are.
I have an opportunity to show the deaf community that not all hearing people don't care or just see them as broken, more or less. I can show them that there are people who care.
Well, the girls' soccer team isn't quiet by any means. Jarrett Spann speaks with Alexis Kinney and Robin Pollard about the soccer season.
The girls' soccer team is kicking and screaming their way to a playoff berth. Alexis Kinney talks about the challenges the team faced this season.
Some challenges that we've been through are injuries and losing seniors from last year because we've had to bring in players from JV to help fill the spots from the injured players and help push up some of our subs to play the roles that the seniors played.
Robin Pollard talks about the most difficult opponent the team has faced this season.
I would have to say that our most difficult opponent this season had to have been Middle Creek. We went into the game thinking that it was going to be a big blowout and that they were going to be a really tough opponent, when actually we came out and that was definitely our most cooperative game, and we played like our best team game then, and it only ended up being 2-1, but I'd have to say that that was our toughest opponent because we came out and worked together the best.
Pollard and Kinney share their opinion on how the team has come together thus far.
We've come a long way this season. I think we've done a lot better than we expected. I wish it didn't take so long, but once we realized that playing together as a team and communicating and respecting one another and speaking in a respectful way honestly helped us.
I think just playing soccer in general has brought us together, because when you're playing together with your friends on a team and on the field, you just get really close to them. And also going on the bus to away games, you get to know your teammates really well, and it's just been a fun season so far.
I'm Jarrett Spann, Wildcat News.
Well, that's all for us this week. If you have any questions, comments, or story ideas, email us at wjstudentmedia@gmail.com.
And if you want to watch Wildcat News at home, on the go, or catch up on any past episodes, go to wildcatscratchpost.com/wildcatnews or subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Erik Beene.
And I'm Jamie Snover. Thanks for watching and have a great week. I'm Erik Beene.
On 60 Minutes today.
Why do you...
Are you okay?
Huh? For our audience, what are your PRs? Mile, 1 mile, 1,600 meters, 4 laps around the track. What is it? What is it? Thank you, Mr. Flynn. We appreciate your time.